Throughout all the, well, really since 2016, we've yet to really see a Brexiteer apologise for comments, remarks, or even the results of the very thing that they wanted. You may remember during all the port chaos we had during the summer and are still having, because that hasn't stopped. Just because it's not been in the news for a while doesn't mean the situations down in sort of Dover and at Calais still aren't, have been cleared up. No, they're still ongoing. The thing is, you've just got less tourist traffic. So, that will just pick up and that will become a regular thing, as we always predicted it would be. We've still got travel chaos at a lot of airports. This is just. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that Brexit and certainly Brexit ultras are responsible for. But we got an interesting apology today from Steve Baker, of all people. And in a way, he is right to sort of apologize for this because it is something he and his sort of Brexit ultras are very, very much responsible for. And that is the deterioration between the relationship between sort of us, the EU, and especially Ireland, because they have argued furiously against the proposals, even the ones put forward by Theresa May, who, again, it would have been Brexit, but it wasn't the Brexit that Steve Baker wanted. It wasn't hard enough. Even Boris Johnson's Brexit, after it got passed, became, well, not hard enough. And they are still trying to push for an even harder Brexit, trying to get out a lot of other things. And there's still a lot of concern over whether the Northern Ireland Protocol will be, well, abolished or destroyed by this current government. So there is still a lot of responsibility on people's like his shoulders, who he probably would not even accept responsibility for, or even think that he should issue an apology for. But this one and this sort of admission, I think, is quite interesting. So before we get covering this news, because it's quite interesting and sort of a bit of an interesting revelation, to say the least, but before we go diving into that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. So over we go to The Guardian, carrying this news today of Tory MP Steve Baker apologises to Ireland and EU for behaviour during Brexit. So let's see what he had to say. Steve Baker, the arch-Brexiteer and one of the Conservative Party's most fiercest campaigners to get the UK out of the EU, has apologised to Ireland and Brussels for the way that he and some of his colleagues behaved over the past 6 years. Okay, it's a start. It's a start. Acknowledging that you've got things wrong, it's a start. And it is, as we've said before, we do need to repair a lot of the relations that Steve Baker and others like him have caused. So it's a start. Baker told the Tory party conference that he and others in the party had not shown respect to the legitimate interests of Ireland or the EU during the campaign to leave the bloc. The Northern Ireland minister, because that's what he is now, said that it was time to rebuild the UK's relations with Ireland and to make sure that the two countries went forward as closest partners and friends, because even he has had to have realised, the whole Northern Ireland process, which he and others said would not be a problem, it's quite a problem. But they still do not have a solution to how you're going to solve this. So how he intends to solve this problem, okay, you want to be closer friends with Ireland, but that still doesn't solve the border problem going on in Northern Ireland. Anyway, what did he else have to say? He said, I was one who perhaps acted with the most ferocious determination to get the UK out of the EU. I think that we have to bring some humility to the situation, said the former chair of the European Research Group of Brexit hardliners. And it is with humility that I want to accept and acknowledge that I and others did not always behave in a way which encouraged Ireland and the European Union to trust us to accept that they have legitimate interests that they and we're willing to respect, because they do, and we are willing to respect them. Interesting come down, very interesting come down from his previous comments. But he also meant to say, and I am sorry about that, because the relations with Ireland are not what they should be, and I will need to work extremely hard to try and improve them. And I know that we are doing so, he said. The transformation into Baker the Peacemaker will astound many among the Conservatives and others in the UK, Ireland, and the EU who watch the ERG attempts to finalise Brexit under Theresa May's government. It is absolutely astounding. Make no mistake. This is absolutely astounding over this. Lord Gavin Barwell, May's former chief of staff, tweeted Baker's apology was, quote, long overdue, but no less welcome for that. The ERG blocked May's attempt to reach a UK-wide solution to the Irish border question, dubbed the backstop, but backed by Boris Johnson's protocol, which then left a border down the Irish Sea. It would later admit that it did that to get Brexit over the line, and on the basis that it could be renegotiated at a later date, which is, again, still part of the massive problems we are having now, because these Brexit people are still trying to go, yeah, it doesn't matter that we've signed this treaty, we can just change it whenever we want. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So make no mistake, this apology might just be a load of old guff. Baker's words would suggest that Liz Truss has regulated the row over the Northern Ireland Protocol, and perhaps was trying to row back on her threat to bring in the new laws to unilaterally tear apart the withdrawal agreement. He was speaking on stage alongside the new Northern Ireland Secretary, Christopher Heaton Harris, who said that he had been talks with the EU and the UK had been reopened last Friday with gusto. Earlier on Sunday, Ireland's Taoiseach, Michael Martin, had said that he detected a genuine wish from Truss to actually resolve the impasse over Northern Ireland Protocol after a very intense round of diplomacy over the past couple of weeks. So one thing we've said and that we've noted, a lot of the problems with the protocol can be sorted, but they just have to be, our side in particular, has to be sit down with the EU and negotiate with them. And the thing is, any sort of accession that the EU exists would be seen as a betrayal by a lot of the other Brexiteers. So we'll have to see how this goes and sort of how the Brexit part of the party reacts. But it's very interesting that even or at least it seems at the moment, Truss has seen that she has to climb down on that. So that's very interesting on that front. Baker said that the death of the Queen, who'd played a significant role in the reconciliation between Ireland and the UK, had been a reminder of how important harmonious relations were with neighbouring countries were. Wow. A reminder of how important harmonious relations with neighbouring countries were. Yeah. He went on to say, the demise of our late Majesty gave us the opportunity to meet leading Irish figures and to say, and I said to some of them, I'm sorry we did not always respect your legitimate interests. The combination of humility and resolve and the willingness to build up relations and to say, actually, yes, we do want to be Ireland's closest friends and partners as we all respect the Good Friday, the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, said Baker. Wow. Admitting that he respects the Good Friday Agreement when he and his cohorts have been doing everything in their power to destroy that. Quite a startling administration. But there's always a but. He said that the EU and Ireland should not underestimate the UK's determination to get rid of trade barriers that have been erected on goods going between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. How do you, again, you apologize for that, say, yeah, and then you go, but yeah, we're still not going to respect that deal we signed. We're still not happy with the protocol that you had said was fine. So yeah, he apologized, but there was a but. He went on to say, the counterpoint of that humility is resolve. No one should underestimate our resolve, this government's resolve, to get progress on the protocol. It is not acceptable that Northern Ireland is so separate from GB, he said. But you agreed to this. You agreed to this, and this is why I've said it's a nothing apology, because you agreed to the Northern Ireland Protocol. This was the oven-ready Brexit deal that you and all the other Brexiteers were saying were fantastic. But as you've later, even again, we saw there, was, yeah, we can just renegotiate it anytime we want. No, that's not how that works. So this isn't so much an apology as maybe it's like an unsincere apology. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me how you think sort of this comes across to you, but it doesn't really seem to come across as a very sincere, apology, when Theresa May's deal would have been far better. But the problem was for Steve Baker and those other Brexit ultras was that it just wasn't hard enough. And now you get him here saying, well, you've got legitimate interest, but so have we. So, and again, we'll have to see how this follows. And don't worry, we will keep an eye on how this all sort of plays out and follows. But yeah, this seems like a completely insincere apology from Steve Baker. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, there is the YouTube thank you button. And of course, the Pony Club down below you can join as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.